What's going on, everyone? So yesterday we had quite the thriller and classic of the New Orleans Pelicans and the Memphis Grizzlies. The Memphis Grizzlies were sitting at 6-19, way out of the play-in tournament, and they finally got back Ja Morant after a 25-game suspension. And boy, did he make himself known. He ended up hitting the game winner in a huge statement game. Actually, both games yesterday were very fun to watch. Even the Celtics and Warriors game, Steph with some heroics. But this Memphis game, right, was a real highlight game. Ja's return. How was he going to look, right? He's a guy that had missed 25 games, hadn't played this season. Was he going to come in, be a little shaky? Was he going to be a little rough? Was he going to kind of throw a wrench into Memphis? There were those questions, there were those concerns. And Ja just basically said, nah, it's like I never left. I'm still here. I'm back. And he hit the game winner and was really huge just closing down the stretch. Hit several just tough shots. He had like 13 in the third and then followed that up with like 14 in the fourth and was just a monster. And look, Ja Morant finished the game 35 minutes, 34 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, 12 of 24 from the field, 0 of 5 from 3, but he's never been like this great. He has his moments, but he's never really been this like great three-point shooter. But 1 block, 2 steals, 5 turnovers. But outside of that, I mean, he was, again, spectacular in this game. And I felt like, this is one of those games where, and I talk about this all the time with like sports, period, right? Like, even from like a rig standpoint, you hear people, like the NBA is rigged or the NFL is rigged. Like, you don't need to. I mean, with as many teams and as many games and as many players as there are in these various organizations, and especially the NBA specifically, seems to be a lot more regular in the NBA. Like, you don't need to rig or stage things. Like, these stories write themselves. Like, if you watch that Memphis game, like, if before this game started, if you would have mapped out how that game went and how Ja Morant, being this villain Domini coming in and becoming the hero to win the game, right? Like, people would have been like, oh man, like that sounds too fake. But you watch the game and it's exactly how it played out. It was perfect. It was like perfect, poetic justice in many ways. And look, when Ja Morant and all the drama and controversy, I don't want to get too much into it. Let the man do his thing. Hopefully he continues to stay out of trouble and learn from his mistakes. But just briefly, like when all this stuff was happening, right? I was vocal about it. I gave my just criticism because he definitely deserved it. It was definitely warranted. And to me, it was just more of just like the boneheadedness, right? Like, do what you want to do. Just be smart enough to not put it on camera or on a live stream or whatever, right? Like, and then he gets in trouble and it's like, all right, there you go. You put your hand on the stove, you got burned. But then he did it again. And it was like, come on, dude. Like, you can't be this hard-headed. Like, come on, you're better than this. You're one of the bright young stars in this league. Right? And I want to see him have success. I want to see him be successful. That was one of the big things. It's one of the reasons why I was so frustrated that Ja Morant continued to just bury himself, right? People always shoot themselves in the foot. It is. It's the truth, right? And it's just like, come on, man. Like, I want to root for you. I want to see you have success. Like, he's so exciting. He's so dynamic. He's so explosive. He's one of the most fun players in the league to watch. And it's just like, dude, you're throwing it all away for what? To run around like pretending like you're this hard guy? Like, for what? Dude, your real name's Clarence. And Clarence's parents have a real good marriage. Like, sit down, relax. Like, take a load off. Enjoy life. You're winning, right? And so it was great to see this because he came in and he was exactly what he is. This explosive, dynamic, fun, just storybook level player. And it was so great to see him just go through this game. I'm sure the emotions were insane. I'm sure, being on the road, I almost wish that it was in Memphis just to hear the crowd and see how electric and dynamic it was, which, don't get me wrong, like, if you watch that game, like, there was a lot of, like, just excitement, period, both ways. And look, the Pelicans, they blew this game. They had this game won, and they just, like, crumbled it and fell apart. I mean, they were in control pretty much the entirety of the game, right? I mean, they outscored them by, like, 23 points in the second quarter, and were looking like they were running away with it. But credit the Grizzlies. They stuck with it. Like I said, Ja was huge in that third quarter, and then even bigger in that fourth quarter, and just had this, like, explosive, impactful game. And he has a very uphill battle to climb. A very big uphill battle to climb. I still don't believe that they make the play-in tournament. I don't. Right now, I mean, they're 6.5 games out of the play-in tournament. It's a lot of ground and a lot of games to make up and cover, right? And you're already more than a third into the season. So, I mean, unless the Grizzlies go on some, like, ridiculous, like, 15, 20 game win streak, I just don't see it, especially with the teams that are in, right? Like, who are they going to overtake? The Warriors are trying desperately to climb over that mountain, right? They're on a 3-game win streak. They just beat the Boston Celtics, but they're still out of the play-in. They're only like a game. They're only 2 games out of 8th, 2.5 out of 7th. But, they are trying to work hard to climb out of this hole and try to make the play-in. But like, you look at the team, let's look at the teams that are in, right? Minnesota, they're a playoff team. Even if they had some, like, crazy collapse, they have such a lead, right? Like, I just don't see them collapsing that badly. The Thunder, same thing. The Nuggets, you're not passing on the Nuggets. The Clippers look like they have figured it out. Dallas, I mean, I had my questions about Dallas, but they just keep winning, so got to credit them. Sacramento, don't see them passing. The Pelicans, they're always a team that's a question mark, right? They haven't been great, and, it's just, they seem to just fall apart late in the season every year. So if that continues to happen, maybe they fall out. Houston is another team. Like, they started off great, but they've kind of tapered back and came back into reality. So maybe they fall out. That could be a possibility. So there's 2 teams right there. And so maybe the Warriors and the Grizzlies can sneak in. But like I said, I mean, they have the Rockets have a 7-game lead on the Grizzlies. Are the Rockets really going to be 7 games worse than the Grizzlies? And that's not counting tiebreakers and everything else. So, I mean, you're talking the Grizzlies probably have to be like 8 games worse, or 8 games better. So it's like, I don't know, maybe it happens. Because I don't think the Suns, as bad as the Suns have looked, and they have literally been the worst fourth quarter team in the league, they just have so much talent. It's like, are they really going to fall out? I would be shocked if that happened. Same thing with the Lakers, right? Like, the Lakers, they just have so much talent. Like, I don't see them falling out. So those are 2 teams that I think will be in the playoffs, or at least the play-in tournament. But you never know. Again, Ja's back. He just came off of a huge game winner, so they're going to have momentum there. But, like, they're going to have to treat, like, every game like this is game 7. And that's crazy to think about, because you're 25 games in, and 27 at most for some teams, and you have to basically treat and act like every single game is an absolute do or die type must-win game. The Grizzlies have played 26 games. They're 7-19, right? So, I mean, you're talking, they got 56 more games left, right? My math's right. So, I mean, you got to win maybe 45 of those. Maybe 40, let's say 47 wins, right? Maybe. I don't know. Because, again, this Western Conference is so tight. And I know 40, so like if you say 40 wins, that would give them 47 wins. But, like, again, like, right now the Suns are 14-13, and they're only 4 games out of second place. right? Like you look at the Lakers are the AC right now. They're 15-12. They're only 3 games out of second place. I mean, the gap between second and 10th is like jam packed, right? And that's not counting even like if Minnesota takes a step back or something like that. Because I mean, you look at a lot of these teams, they're only like 3 or 4 games out of first. It's a ridiculous. I would be shocked if the Grizzlies win enough games to get into the play. Because like you win 35 games, 42 isn't going to cut it. You're not going to get into the play with 42, not in the West, at least, right? If it was the East, probably, because you're probably going to, if you're in the East, there might even be a team that's like at 500 that gets into the play. I don't think a 500 team is going to be in the play. And so for them to be at 500, they can only lose, 22 more games? Or no, sorry. Yeah, so 22 more games out of 52 or 56. So they basically have to win 40 games. Like I said, maybe if you're lucky 40 or 38. So they basically have to be like an 80% win D. That's tough. That is so tough, right? And like I said, I to me, this is more of like Ja's redemption season. That's kind of how I would look at it. Like Ja comes in, makes a statement. I'm here. I'm back. All that stuff before was behind me. Let's move forward. Watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this league by storm and show why I am who I am. That's just kind of how I look at it. But this next stretch is going to be very interesting. So to close out the month of December, they have the Pacers, who they've been really bad lately. And they're a little bit of a desperate team. Then you have a 4-game road trip against the Hawks, the Pelicans again, who you just beat in New Orleans. And then you got the Nuggets and the Clippers. I mean, you could be looking at 3 or 4 losses in these next 5 games. And that's not counting the Kings to close out the season or the month of December. So this is going to be huge, right? Because if they lose, like let's say they lose to the Kings, the Clippers, the Nuggets, and then the Pelicans, right? And that's 4 out of their next 6 games. I think they're definitely done. Because now at that point, I mean, you've lost already almost as many games as you can afford to lose, even if you wanted to make the play-in, even if you're starting from scratch. It's an uphill battle. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What did you make of Ja Morant and his return? What do you think of the Grizzlies? Do you think that they have a chance to pull it out and make at least the play-in tournament? Do you think no, they're already too far back? Again, how I feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below.